Many things in the bulk of my life were rushed, stressed, sometimes even self sabotaging when it came to what I ate and making time to exercise or take care of myself. Even things like debt were just ignored because I thought it was just the way people had to live nowadays to make ends meet. And eating out and being in debt and lack of sleep, all those things cumulatively led to a lot of things just not being the way they could have been. And I feel like since I've retired, I'm actually able to take a look at some of these things now and do better. And it's funny that it took me this long to do it. But when you're in that constant cycle of rushing and being stressed and just trying to get things done, you don't really think things through that well. And it leads to a lot of poor decisions, which also can lead to debt. So, today I'm going to talk to you about how things have changed since I've been able to stop being in that constant state of flurry and be able to actually make sense of some of the things I was doing and make changes. Hi, I'm Bonita, if you don't know me, and I live in rural Kansas. I retired in October of 2023. I was almost 58 years old, and it is one of the best things that I ever did for myself. And I just wanted to share with you how slowing down has made such a huge difference in my life. My quality of life, my life satisfaction in day to day living has increased 100%. I look forward to every day now. I don't dread Sunday evenings. I don't dread Monday mornings. I don't have to wait until Friday afternoon to get excited about my life and then think, oh man, I got to do this again on Monday. All of those things were silently eating away at me and decreasing my life's satisfaction. And many of the things that should have been looked at as taking care of myself just went by the wayside because I was just in survival mode. And I think I'm not alone in that. I think a lot of people are just in survival mode, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the next vacation, waiting for the next something in their life that they can look forward to rather than the day to day things that they're already doing. And it can get monotonous and it can get depressing, and a lot of us get caught up in what is there that is better than what I am doing. And when I reached that point and realized that my life satisfaction was so low, I started deciding that I really needed to make changes. And I didn't know if I could afford to do it. But since I have made that decision, I have found there's so many ways that I can save money that made up for me working. And I could live on so much less and yet still be so much more happy than I was in my day to day life. And that has just been such an eye opener for me that I like to share it with other people in case you might be in that same situation. Many people find that their mental health improves when they are no longer working. The office stress, the coworker stress, the scheduling stress, and sometimes even the money making and money decision stress of trying to make ends meet and still have gas to get to work and still be able to have food or time to make food to take with you, to make sure your clothes are clean, to make sure that you have what you need when it comes the morning that you need to get ready. all of those things together add a lot of stress to our lives without us realizing it. But it is passed off today as that being normal. All of that stress and anxiety and rushing is considered normal. And if you're not doing that, then you're not staying busy. And if you're not staying busy, that's kind of frowned upon, because why aren't you staying busy? Why aren't you making good use of your time? My physical health was deteriorating as I was working and pushing myself to limits that my body just couldn't handle anymore. I was not getting good sleep because I was hurting. I was not in the right frame of mind when I would get up in the morning and I hadn't had sleep. There were times I went to work and I hadn't slept at all the night before, and that was becoming more common than not. And it made it so difficult for me to concentrate. And when you can't concentrate, you can't make good decisions. And I was using all of my brain power at work. And then when work was over, I just couldn't think anymore. It was hard to even drive home safely at times because I was so tired and I was so stressed from not getting good sleep and my body being in pain. And just being able to not have to push myself that hard every single day and be in that much pain has made my life so much better. And I can make better decisions now. If I don't sleep well the night before, I know that I can sit down when I'm tired. I can take a little rest if I need to, and I can concentrate better on the things that I need to concentrate on. If you don't know Fluff, this is our cat. He thinks he has to be on my lap all the time. And if he's not on my lap, he is stress eating. So we've had to kind of put him on a diet because when he stress eats, he throws up. Maybe that kind of sounds like what you've been dealing with on going to work every day if some of these things I'm talking to you about hit home today. Another thing is I just left that work-related stress behind. At least I thought I did. And I had nightmares about going to work. And sometimes they looked different. Maybe they didn't look like work scenarios, but sometimes they actually did. And if I looked at my dreams, I saw that they were actually related to the work stress I was having. At one point, I dreamed that my car rolled into a lake and I had my key fob trying to push the button so I could hear where it beeped at so I could try to get my car out because I had to get to work to my next appointment. Not even thinking that if my car came out, it probably wasn't going to start. All I could worry about is I have to get to my next appointment on time. So as you can see, it was even bleeding over into my dreams when I was able to go to sleep. I had such decreased satisfaction in any leisure time that I had. I had so much to do. My body was shutting down and trying to get things done and pushing myself even in my leisure time to get my laundry done, to get my dishes done. My husband was helping vacuum and do some of the things that was even more difficult for me, but it was so hard just in my leisure time, even though I was an empty nester, to try to get my household chores done. And that added stress to me as well. I remember being at work thinking, I have too much to do to be at work. This working is really cutting in to the things that I need to do at home, which is a totally backwards way of thinking because I needed to go to work, I thought, to make ends meet. Now I have time to prioritize my health and I have time to sleep. I don't have that rigid schedule anymore where I can do what my body allows me to do on that day, and sometimes what my mind allows me to do on that day. There were days that I had off that I felt like I couldn't even mentally think what I needed to do because I needed to rest. And so many times I feel like we are all in this perpetual cycle of rush, 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 stress, 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 pay bills, do laundry, do dishes. And it just wasn't fun anymore. And it was really making things difficult for me mentally. And I think that being able to choose my own schedule, being able to save in places that I didn't even have the insight to do before because I was so stressed, those things have really contributed to my happiness. When I was in that state, I couldn't even see how I could make ends meet. But now that I'm not working, I can see all kinds of ways that I can make ends meet without a regular paycheck. And a lot of that had to do with just clearing my mind where I could think better. Stress impairs logical thinking by hijacking your brain's control center and shifting focus from rational reasoning to primal survival. Many times people will think that their 20s, their 30s, their 40s are the best time of their life. Sometimes they'll even think their 50s is the best time of their life. Well, I just turned 60, and honestly, I think this rates right up there with one of the best times in my life because I actually have the freedom that I worked so hard for. Working over 40 years to be able to get a little bit of freedom in the last chapter of our life, it seems unbalanced. But being able to take retirement early helped balance that a little bit for me. And it helped me see that all those years that I did that, they're paying off now because I'm actually able to make my own choices on what I'm going to do every single day. I'm actually able to get some things ticked off of my list of things that I needed to do around the house, like some of the decluttering that I had shared with you. And I was actually able to keep my house cleaner and more organized so that I could relax when I was home. Before, I just was hitting the high spots. I wasn't able to do the things I needed to do to even come home in the evening and just sit down and relax because I saw all these things I needed to do. So if you are where I was at, let me know in the comments below. If you are early retired, let me know how it has benefited your day-to-day life. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to motivate others with your comments so that they can see that this can be possible. My channel was just to have kind of an outlet to share with everyone. You can make your life better. You can find a way out of the situation you're in if you are not happy with your day-to-day life. And I hope I have done that for some of you. And I hope that I am encouraging some of you, if you are in the place that I was in, to look forward to this time. Start making plans to make it happen and start trying to work at decreasing your stress level, improving your sleep, and taking care of your body if you can work that in, because it makes all the difference in your day-to-day happiness. Prolonged stress can physically rewire your brain, making it harder to regulate emotions or make sound, calculated decisions. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one.